The snowstorm screamed across the dead planet. Cold winds blew over the endless white ground. Nothing moved. No bird, no beast, no machine. Only one thing broke the silence. A woman. She walked slowly, holding something tight against her chest. Her long coat was torn. Her boots were cracked. Her breath was weak, but still, she walked. She had to. Inside her coat, a baby cried. The child was small, shaking from the cold. His mother kissed his forehead. Her lips were dry. Her face was pale, but her eyes stayed strong. Her name was Lyra. She had come from Earth on a deep space mission. Her ship crashed 3 days ago. The planet was not marked on any map. Her team was gone. Some were dead. Others were taken by the storm. Now, only Lyra and her baby were left. She kept walking. Her hands were frozen. Her legs felt heavy like stone. But her child's soft cry kept her going. She whispered softly to him, "Just a little more, I promise." Soon she saw a dark shape in the snow. A small cave shelter. She stumbled inside. The wind disappeared. The silence returned. Lyra fell to her knees. She placed the baby on her lap and wrapped him in every piece of cloth she had. Her hands trembled as she rubbed his cheeks, trying to give him warmth. The baby stopped crying. Lyra smiled a little. "Good boy," she said softly. "Just rest. Mommy's here." But her voice was weak. Her body leaned against the cave wall. Her eyes were heavy. Sleep called her like a soft song. She knew what was coming. There was no food, no fire. Her strength was almost gone. She was dying. Lyra looked at her child one last time. He was sleeping, now warm in her arms. She closed her eyes and whispered, "At least you're safe." The wind howled outside. Snow fell harder. Time passed, and then a sound, not from the storm. Something, breathing, heavy, deep, close. Lyra's eyes opened. Slightly, she couldn't move, but she felt it. Something big was standing at the entrance of the cave. Watching her, she tried to speak, but her lips wouldn't move. Then light. A strange, golden glow filled the cave. Warm, alive. It touched her face, her hands. It felt like fire, but gentle. The baby moved in her arms. He woke up and gave a soft, sleepy cry. Then footsteps. Slow, careful. The creature stepped closer. It was not human. It was tall, with glowing eyes and skin like dark metal. Fire floated above its hands. Not normal fire, but something living. It knelt beside Lyra. Its eyes looked at her child, then at her. It did not speak. But she felt something. Inside her mind, a voice, "You are not alone." Lyra wanted to answer, but darkness took her again. She fell into deep sleep. She woke up hours later. The baby was warm. It was wrapped in a thick, strange blanket made from alien cloth. A fire burned in the middle of the cave, real fire. She felt heat. Life. The creature sat across from her, watching silently. Lyra sat up slowly. "You saved us," she whispered. The alien didn't speak. But again, she heard his voice inside her mind. "You carry the last light." Lyra looked down at her baby, smiled in his sleep. She looked up. "What are you?" The alien tilted its head. Then it stood and pointed outside, far away in the snow. Shadows moved. The voice came again. "They are coming. You must stay warm. You must stay quiet." Lyra's heart pounded. "Who's coming?" The alien didn't answer. Instead, it picked up a sharp-looking spear from the wall and walked to the cave entrance. It stood like a guard. Lyra held her baby close. The fire crackled softly. But outside, the storm wasn't the only thing howling now. There were others, hunters. The real danger had just begun. Lyra didn't remember falling asleep, but when her eyes opened again, everything had changed. The cave was glowing with a strange golden light. The cold was gone. The wind no longer screamed outside. And beside her, sitting near a floating fire, was something not human. She didn't move. She just stared. The alien creature sat with its back straight, its long arms resting. On its knees, its skin was smooth and dark like molten rock, but the firelight made it shine like metal. Two soft, glowing eyes looked toward her, but not with anger. They were calm, watchful. Lyra slowly looked down. Her baby was still safe, wrapped in a thick, soft blanket she had never seen before. He was sleeping peacefully, as if nothing had happened. She blinked. Her throat was dry. Who are you?" she whispered. The alien didn't speak with a mouth, but in her mind, a voice echoed gently, "I am not enemy." Lyra sat up slowly, still weak but stronger than before. The heat in the cave gave her strength. The fire didn't burn like normal flames, floated alive, like a small sun held between invisible hands. "How did you find us?" she asked, her voice still shaking. The alien tilted its head. Then the voice returned. "I heard the cry of life in the storm." Lyra stared at the fire. "You made this fire?" "Yes, from the heat stone below. The last warmth of this planet." She looked at the alien again, her fear slowly changing into curiosity. He didn't look like a monster. He looked tired, lonely, like he too was surviving. "You saved me," she said quietly. "You saved my son." The alien said nothing for a moment. Then, "No child should die in cold. No mother should sleep in silence." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. For the first time in days, she didn't feel completely alone, but the feeling didn't last. Suddenly, the alien stood up. Fast, he turned toward the cave entrance, his glowing eyes narrowing. Lyra tensed. "What is it?" He didn't turn around. "They are near." She grabbed her baby quickly and backed toward the wall. "The cold ones?" she asked. The alien nodded slowly. "They hunt the heat. They smell fire, breath, blood." Lyra looked at the flames in fear. "What do we do?" The alien walked to the entrance and raised one hand. The floating fire shrank, dimming until it was only a faint spark. Then he stepped outside, just a little, raised a strange tool, half weapon, half staff. It glowed faint red. He turned his head slightly toward Lyra and spoke into her mind again. "Hide. Stay silent. If I don't return, run east, toward the cliffs. The warmth there still lives." Lyra's voice cracked. "Wait, please don't. Leave me." But he was already gone, swallowed by the snow and night. Minutes passed, or hours. She didn't know. Lyra crouched in silence, holding her baby tightly, listening to the wind. Her ears picked up strange sounds, crunching snow, distant growls, whispers that didn't sound like words. She didn't dare move. Her baby didn't cry, as if he too understood. Then, flash. A sharp blue light outside. A scream low and echoing. Not human, then silence. Lyra's heart pounded in her chest. "Please be okay," she whispered. "Please come back." She closed her eyes. The fire flickered beside her, weak but still alive, after what felt like forever. Footsteps returned. The alien entered the cave, breathing hard. A deep scratch glowed across his arm, but he was still. Standing, still strong, Lyra gasped. "You're hurt." The alien sat down heavily beside the fire and touched the wound. It healed slowly with a red spark. "One scout only. The rest will come soon." She swallowed hard. "We need to move?" "Not yet. Night is still long. You rest. I will guard." Lyra nodded slowly. She sat beside him, not afraid anymore. After a pause, she asked quietly, "Why are you helping us?" The alien looked at the sleeping baby. "Because long ago, someone helped me." He stared at the fire in silence, and Lyra knew then this creature had lost someone too. Maybe a family, a home, a world. She was not the only one running from the cold. Together, they sat in the cave, a mother, her child, and a strange fire wielder from another world, but outside. The snow was shifting. The cold ones were no longer searching. They were hunting. The cave was quiet, too quiet. Lyra sat close to the fire, her baby sleeping peacefully beside her. The alien, her strange savior, stood guard near the entrance, silent and still like a statue. His tall shadow flickered in the free-liquored. Outside, the storm had weakened, but it had not ended. Lyra spoke softly. "You said, others are coming?" The alien did not look back, but his glowing eyes narrowed. "Yes, I feel them. They are moving through the snow." Closer, Lyra felt a chill. In her chest, not from the cold, but from fear. "Who are they?" He turned slowly, then sat down. "They are not like me. They are called the Cold Ones, born in ice, fed by fear." She frowned. "Why do they want us?" The alien answered with a low, deep voice in her mind. "They eat warmth. They follow breath. They hate fire. They hate life." Lyra held her baby tighter. "But how do you fight something like that?" The alien looked into the fire, his expression unreadable, with something colder than fear and stronger than heat. Suddenly a sound, not wind, not snow, a click, a hiss, a dragging sound across stone. The alien stood up quickly, his weapon lit up in red. His head turned slowly from left to right. Lyra whispered, "Are they here?" The fire dimmed. The alien didn't speak instead. He motioned to her silent, then pointed to the back of the cave, a narrow tunnel, a way out. He handed her a small crystal. It glowed soft orange. "For the baby, hold it close. We'll keep him warm." Lyra nodded, her heart pounding. She placed the crystal gently beside her child and wrapped him tightly. Then she heard it breathing, not hers, not the alien's. Something was inside the cave. Lyra froze from the shadows. Stepped forward, thin, pale, almost invisible in the snowlight. Its eyes were black holes, its fingers long, broken, and sharp-like bone. Frost leaked from its mouth like smoke. It made no sound, but the air turned colder, much colder. The alien stepped forward. Between it and Lyra, his fire rose like a living shield. The creature hissed, and the walls of the cave cracked from the cold. Then another hiss, and another. There was more than one. They were surrounding the cave. "Go," the alien said sharply into her mind. "But run. I will follow." Lyra grabbed the baby, wrapped in crystal warmth, and ran into the tunnel. It was narrow, wet, and cold, but she didn't stop. Behind her, she heard the fire scream, and something else, screeches, roars, stone breaking, fire clashing with frost. Tears rolled down her face, but she didn't stop. She ran through the twisting tunnel, deeper into the unknown. The tunnel ended at a wide opening, a secret cavern. Inside were glowing rocks, soft heat, and strange carved walls, symbols not from Earth. Lyra dropped to her knees, gasping for air. Her baby stirred, then smiled, warm and safe. But she was not safe. Not yet. She turned around. Listening silence then. Soft sound, footsteps, slow, heavy. She raised a stone in fear. Ready to fight, but it was him, the alien. He was hurt. His left shoulder burned by ice, a cut across his leg, but he was alive. She ran to him. "You're alive?" He knelt slowly and dropped his weapon. Then he looked around the cavern. This place was once sacred, a last home. "We will rest here, but not for long." Lyra looked up at the walls. Strange lights moved in patterns, like stories being told without words. "What is this place?" The alien touched the wall. "The memory of my people. This is where the fire was born. This is where I was made." Lyra stared in silence. This wasn't just a cave, it was a grave, memory, a secret waiting to be awakened. And outside, the Cold Ones were still searching. They wouldn't stop. The cavern was quiet, but not dead. Soft orange lights pulsed from the walls, like a slow heartbeat. Strange symbols floated above the stone-moving shapes that looked like dancing fire, whispering forgotten stories. Lyra sat near the glowing rocks, her baby asleep in her arms. The alien sat across from her, silent, healing. His wounds still smoked from the Cold One's touch. She looked at him. His eyes were closed, but his body was tense, like a soldier resting, but ready to fight again at any second. Finally, she spoke. "What is this place?" The alien opened his glowing eyes. He looked around slowly. "This is memory. The last sacred room of my kind." Lyra frowned. "What happened to them?" He stood slowly and touched a wall. The floating symbols brightened. Firelight turned to image. She saw it. A world full of life. Tall aliens like him, walking among glowing forests, holding fire in their hands. It's laughing, teaching. Living dot, then came shadows. Cold ones, creatures of frost falling from the sky like ice meteors, freezing everything they touched. Lyra watched the images. "Your world was destroyed." He nodded. "We fought, died. Some escaped underground. Some burned themselves with fire rather than freeze." She touched her baby gently. "And you?" Stared into the wall. "I was born after one of the last. Made from firestone. Trained to guard what remains." The images faded. Now only silence and soft light remained. Lyra stood up and looked deeper into the cavern. "Are we safe here?" The alien hesitated. "For now, but this warmth is dying. The crystals cannot burn forever. The cold ones will return." She looked at the walls again. The glow was dimmer than before, like a candle close to its end. "So what do we do? Just wait to die?" The alien turned and stared at her baby. "There is one more hope." He walked to a small altar near the center of the cavern. It held a sphere, glowing faint blue, floating above a stone circle. Lyra followed him. "What is that?" "The source. Flame." He looked at her. "It can awaken the fire seed, but only if it finds a heart strong enough to carry it." She stepped back, unsure. "You mean a weapon?" "No, a power, a gift, a curse. It burns the body, but it saves the soul." Lyra looked down at her baby, then back at the alien. "I don't understand." He pointed at her chest. "You survived the storm. You gave your warmth to your child. You did not run. The flame is watching." The sphere pulsed softly, like it was breathing. Suddenly, loud crack echoed. Above, the cavern shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The alien's face turned sharp. "They've found the tunnel." Lyra panicked. "They're coming again." Alien grabbed his weapon. "I will hold them. You must decide. Touch the source flame, or run." Lyra looked at the floating sphere. Its glow reached toward her like warm wind. She turned to the alien. "If I touch it, what happens to me?" He paused. "You may burn, or you may become more." The ceiling shook again. A cold one screeched in the distance. Closer now. The alien turned to leave. Lyra looked at her sleeping baby, then stepped forward. She touched the flame. At first, nothing. Then a spark shot into her chest. She gasped. "Ah!" Her hands lit up with golden light. Her eyes glowed. The cavern exploded in warmth. The crystals answered her. The walls brightened. Fire returned. The source flame had chosen her. The alien turned around and stared. "You are fireborn now." She breathed heavily, glowing with new power. The baby smiled in his sleep. From above, ice howls echoed through the tunnel. The cold ones were coming. But this time, she would not hide. This time, they would fear the heat. Lyra was no longer the same woman who had collapsed in the snow. Her hands now glowed faint gold, even in the darkness. Her skin shimmered with soft heat. Inside her chest, she felt something new aflame, small but alive. Like a second heart, she had touched the source flame, and it had accepted her. She sat near the glowing crystal wall, her baby resting in her lap. His skin was warm and pink. He giggled softly in his sleep. Lyra smiled, but inside she felt a storm rising. The cold ones were coming. They had followed them to the underground world. The alien returned from the dark tunnels, his spear glowing red. "They're close," he said through her mind. "We have only ours." Lyra stood up slowly. "Then we fight." The alien tilted his head. "You have changed. Your fire is growing. But it's not complete. She looked at her glowing hands. Then help me finish it. The next hours were like a dream, a fireborn dream. The alien trained her in silence. He moved with speed and focus, teaching her how to breathe heat, how to control flame with her thoughts. Not by shouting or magic, but by believing. The cold ones cannot be killed by fire alone, he explained. But your fire is not from stone, it is from love that is stronger. Lyra practiced, sweat on her brow. Her arms ached, her legs burned. But she didn't stop. She couldn't. Every time she looked at her child, she remembered why she must fight. That night, the cold ones came. Not one, not 10. A swarm. They moved like ice wolves across the tunnels, hissing, clicking, scraping the stone walls with long claws. Shadows swallowed the cave as their cold breath spread like fog. The alien stood at the entrance, his weapon glowing like lava. Lyra stood beside him, her baby, safe in a side chamber, surrounded by heat crystals. I'll hold the center, she said. The alien looked at her with something close to pride. Then I will hold the gate. They came like a blizzard, screaming, snapping, crawling on walls, floor, ceiling. Lyra closed her eyes and let the fire speak. Whoosh. A golden blast of flame shot from her arms, spinning like a storm. The first 3 cold ones melted on contact. Shrieking in icy pain, she moved like a dancer of fire, spinning, striking, burning with every step. But they kept coming. One leapt onto her back. Its claws reached for her neck. She screamed, not in fear, in rage, and from her mouth. A burst of heat exploded, sending the creature flying backward, body shattered into frost shards. The alien fought with silent fury. His spear burned white-hot. He moved through the swarm like wind, through trees, calm, fast, deadly. But even he was slowing. He was old. He had fought this fight too many times. Lyra ran to him, covered in ash and glowing sweat. They're endless. He looked at her. No, just hungry. Then he fell to one knee. Injured, Lyra caught him. His eyes dimmed slightly. The flame in you is strong. Stronger than me now. Lyra looked back. Her baby was still safe, but the fire crystals in the cave were dying. A deep growl echoed. The swarm paused. Then, from the far tunnel it came, taller, heavier, covered in frost armor. A cold one, Alpha. Its eyes burned blue. Its mouth opened in a silent scream, and the temperature in the cave dropped instantly. Lyra could feel her fire shrinking. The alien whispered, "You must protect the boy. I'll hold it," but she shook her head. "No," she stepped forward. "I'll burn it myself." The Alpha rushed her, faster than the rest. She stood still, eyes closed at the last second. She raised her hand and her whole body ignited. Not red fire, not yellow, white hot. Pure fire born from a mother's love and a soul that refused to die. She didn't scream. She burned. The cold one Alpha reached her, shattered into steam. The other cold ones paused, and then they hissed and ran back into the tunnels. Gone. Silence returned. The fire dimmed. Lyra fell to her knees. The alien walked too, her slowly eyes full of quiet awe. "You have found it," he said, "the fire within." She held her baby close. He was laughing. She smiled. Then her eyes turned serious. "They'll come again." The alien nodded. "Then we prepare. Together?" The cave was no longer quiet. It pulsed, glowed, breathed. Lyra stood in the center, firelight dancing over her skin. Her hands were steady now. Her eyes glowed softly with white flame. Her baby slept behind her, safe in a ring of heat crystals. The alien stood beside her, scarred but tall, holding his long fire spear like a king without a throne. They had pushed back the cold ones once, but the real storm had just begun. Far above the deep tunnels of the planet, the ice cracked like thunder. The cold ones had returned, and this time they were coming to kill. The alien knelt beside the fire altar. His voice entered her mind again. "This will be the last defense. If they break the inner flame, it dies forever." Lyra nodded. "Then we don't let them in." He stood and looked toward the dark tunnel. I have waited years for this moment. But I never thought a human would be the one to stand beside me. Lyra smiled faintly. Me neither. Then the ground trembled, like something huge was moving. Beneath them, not just creatures now, something bigger, suddenly. The walls of the cavern groaned. A roar echoed down the stone hall. It wasn't high-pitched, it was deep. Like ice breaking a mountain, the alien's eyes narrowed. They have awakened the Frost Titan. Lyra's chest tightened. What is that? He looked at her. The first of them, a beast born when fire first fell silent. It sleeps in the deepest. Ice. Until now. Then came the swarm. Cold ones poured into the tunnels like a wave. Hundreds of them, crawling on walls, ceiling, floor. Their eyes glowed blue. Their claws sparked frost. But Lyra was ready. She closed her eyes and lit herself. On fire. White, silent fire. It didn't burn her clothes or her skin. It wrapped her like armor, like memory. She raised her hands. The first cold one leapt boom. A wave of fire burst from her, spinning like a ring. Turning the first 10 attackers to steam, the alien charged beside her, fire spear striking with speed. In grace, they fought together, man of flame and mother of fire. But the cold ones kept coming. Suddenly, the cavern floor shook violently. Rocks fell. A loud scream filled the space from the far end of the chamber. The Frost Titan entered. It was huge, 20 feet tall. It's made of ice and bone, with arms like glaciers and a face cracked with age. Cold fog poured from its body, freezing anything it touched. Lyra's fire flickered. The alien stepped forward and, threw his spear, strike. The spear hit the Titan's chest. It snapped. The creature didn't even flinch. It raised one giant hand and slammed it to the floor. Crack. Part of the cave collapsed. Fire crystals shattered. The warmth began to die. Lyra ran to the center, grabbing her baby. He cried, sensing the cold. The Frost Titan moved toward them. Step by step, she could feel her flame weakening. Please. She whispered to the fire inside her. Don't leave me now. She held her child tighter. Then she remembered the source flame. Hadn't just given her fire, it had given her choice. Lyra kissed her baby's forehead. She whispered, "Be strong, my light." Then she stood up. She turned to the alien. Protect. Him, without waiting for reply, she walked toward the Frost Titan. The cold made her skin crack. Her steps slowed. She didn't stop. When she reached the center of the room, she knelt and placed her hand on the last living fire crystal. Take. Everything, she whispered. Give it freely. The fire inside her chest exploded. The whole cavern lit up in white light. The cold. One screamed, the Titan roared, then dashed silence. Only light. Endless white light. Moments later, the alien stood up. All cold ones were gone. The Titan, gone. The frost, melted Lyra, lay in the center, still smoke rising from her. He ran to her, held her. She opened her eyes slowly. I'm still here, she whispered, and in her arms her baby laughed. The cavern was quiet again, but not the silence of fear. It's the silence of peace. The fire still burned, not wild, not loud, but steady. Calm, alive. Lyra lay in its glow, her child resting against her chest. Her body was weak, skin marked. With lines of light, the fire still sleeping inside her. She had survived. She had burned like the sun, and the darkness had run. The alien knelt beside her. For the first time, his eyes showed something deeper than power. Gratitude. You ended it, he said quietly, speaking aloud for the first time. Lyra opened her eyes. No, she whispered. We ended it. The alien bowed his head. You are Fireborn, and more. You are what we waited for.
What?
This world never saw before. Days passed. The tunnels stayed warm. The cold ones were gone, not hiding, not healing, but truly gone. Without the Titan, their source of frost was shattered. The alien helped Lyra walk again, step by step. Each day her strength returned, but her flame had changed. It no longer burned to destroy. Now it warmed, it healed. One morning, she stepped outside for the first time. Snow still covered the world, but the wind had changed. It no longer howled with hate. The sky, once gray, now shimmered with a soft orange glow, and on the horizon a ship, a real one, not a dream. Lyra blinked at the blinking lights in the sky. A rescue beacon. A signal had been sent by the alien.
Weeks ago.
Before the final battle, he had known. If they survived, someone would come. He stood beside her now, silent, watching the same sky. "They'll come for me," Lyra said. "For my child." The alien nodded. "They will take you home." Lyra looked down at her baby, smiling, healthy. His tiny fingers warm as fire. She smiled softly. "But this place feels like home now, too." The ship landed 2 days later. Clean silver. Human voices echoed from inside. A rescue crew stepped out, stunned to find a mother, a child, and a tall, ancient alien with glowing eyes. They asked many questions, but Lyra only gave one answer. "We survived. Together." Before she left, Lyra walked to the edge of the cave one last time. The alien waited there, standing near the old altar. She placed her hand on his. "You could come with us." My place is head gently. "My place is here. I was born in the fire. I will die with it. But you carry it forward." She nodded. Then she did something no one expected. She reached up, hugged him. Not as a warrior, not as a savior, but as family. The ship rose into the sky. Lyra watched the world below grow smaller. She held her baby close. He laughed and reached for the window. His tiny hand glowed with warm light. Just a flicker, but enough to know. The fire lives on. Far below, the alien stood alone in the snow, watching the sky. But he was not sad. He turned and walked back into the tunnels, his spear still glowing, the last guardian of a world no longer dying, a beginning again.